We're on now.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to Coonawarra, and welcome to Majella, for those people either looking from the Majella bit or more particularly Good Food and Wine Show. And as Nick Ryan said the other day, we'd normally be getting ready for Good Food and Wine shows, but COVID-19 sort of played Merry Hill with everything. So this is the virtual tour of Majella and a bit of a chat about Coonawarra. Now it's just about smoko time for you guys in Victoria, 10 o'clock, a little bit early for us, but everyone wants to know what on earth I've made. So today, savoury scones, cheese and herb scones. Everyone asks for recipes, and I can tell you, it's made up out of here. There really isn't a recipe. Anyone that knows how to make scones, just add some herbs, add some cheese, and then add some savoury things. Just a little bit of homemade relish in there. There's a little bit of pepper sauce that was left over from somewhere. All sorts of bits and pieces. If you've got a food processor, it makes it really easy. If you've got a Thermomix, which I have, and those people that have been to Good Food and Wine shows last year would have seen the Thermomix stand. If you haven't got one, get one. They're damned expensive at $2,000, but it'll last you forever, and you can hand it on to your children because it'll last them forever as well. They really do keep going. So anyway, that's a bit of cheese, some nice butter, and other things, and so this is what doubles up as a lunchroom for us, but it's really a laboratory and tasting room. Winemakers like to come in here and look at their wines, and Stella, who's holding the phone for me actually. Can you do a selfie? Can you swing it around? We'll do that later on.
I don't want to.
So, I could film Stella doing some laboratory work, but we do a lot of laboratory work, a lot of QA, talking about these things. So it seems to work. So this is this room. This is probably the most used room in the whole place, other than the tasting room, which is a bit dead at the moment, but we'll finish up in there because we've had to close cellar door, unfortunately, with the rules and regulations. But mail order's still working, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So why don't we do a little guided tour out here, out through the red door, to where it all happens. This is the winery. Not a big winery, not a small winery either. If you want to get rid of a lot of money, build a winery. There's a fair bit. So up the top are 6 fermenters. I mean, most of you, I think, know the process of making wine. Pick the grapes. We finished about nearly two weeks ago, 2 weeks ago today. But there are other wineries still going. I think there's another week or so's picking here in Coonawarra, so we're not far away. So we picked the grapes, and our crop this year was quite small, 50% down. We knew it was going to be. And it all because of problems back in last spring. The conditions were not conducive to flowering and setting, so the crop didn't set very well. But it's farming, if we're in the grape growing game, it's still farming. So here we are, 6 fermenters up the top, F1, 2 and 3 are static fermenters. The other one's over here, are nice little rolly fermenters. The crusher's out the back, it's all being cleaned up. And this is in the process of being cleaned. And Michael's just wandering around over there trying to get away from us out the door. He's been merrily cleaning things down, making sure everything's nice and clean for next year now that we've finished with it. So basically the wine will stay, the grape juice, crush the grapes in the crusher, we'll walk past that in a minute, and then pump the slurry up into one of the tanks, the top, one of the fermenters. We add a little bit of yeast, and basically it stays there for 6 days. We've got to do a bit of work because the skins and the seeds are a bit lighter, so they'll float to the top and just leave the juice underneath. And the skins and the seeds are where flavour and tannin and colour. So we've got to keep them mixed up. You can do it yourself in a bucket at home. Just get some grapes from the greengrocer and squash them up and give them time, and they'll actually work. Many of our Italian and Greek friends do it in their back sheds, and sometimes they get it really good. I've had some great homemade ones. I've had some awful homemade ones too. But some of them's been pretty good. So anyway, about 6 days in the fermenter, and basically the action of the yeast turns the sugar in grapes into alcohol and a bit of carbon dioxide, which blows off the top. And so after about 6 days, 6 to 7 days, we've got it. We can make it quicker, but we do keep the temperature under control a little bit, making the very best wine. And then we obviously mix the skins and the seeds together twice a day. Gives the boys something to do through vintage. Once we've got the colour and the alcohol that we want, we put it through a wine press. And that's a very fancy, now 20-year-old, but very fancy and quite expensive wine press. And it works very, very well for it. It drives backwards and forwards under the fermenters. And from there into one of the tanks, or the tanks out the back, I think we'll keep walking, thank you, Stella. So we're walking out here, heading towards the Shiraz vineyard, you can see through the door. Actually, our first Shiraz vineyard, first planted in 1968 when I was a young man. And you can see here that we've got some of the winemaking equipment out to be cleaned up. So that's now 50-year-old Shiraz on a grey day in Coonawarra. But grey and overcast, but it is autumn, so we're expecting it to be like that. So we'll walk here, more tanks. When you've got nothing else to do, go find another tank, which winemakers will fill up. Crushers over there under the sound shell canopy. A lot of people that come to Majella think that it's a sound shell, but it isn't. It's actually cover over the crusher. It seems to work pretty well. And then into the magic little part here, and we can hear a forklift going, so we'll get whoever's driving that to shut up. And barrels. So Michael's one of our winemakers. It's called the day. Michael, come and say good day to people. Be nice. Be nice. So we've got two winemakers, Bruce, who many of you has been forever, and Michael, who's been, how long have you been here, Marco?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years, been a long time, and he hasn't, we don't lose many staff once we get them. Stella's been with us for how many years, Stella?
16.
16. So, and Bruce has been with us forever.
Since the beginning.
So it's all a bit of fun. Lots of barrels. How many barrels in here, Michael?
In here about 600.
600?
Yeah.
And then each of those barrels is worth about $1,600, $1,500, You can do the sums as to what it costs to keep a winery going. And they're what size?
Hogsheads.
Which are
300 litres each.
Yeah, the old English name, hogsheads. 300 litres at a time. Mostly French oak or American?
Mostly French, some American. So some American fresh Shiraz.
A lot of them are made in the Barossa Valley by AP John and Sons. Peter John and family and workers make superb barrels from imported timber, of course. And look, if ever you're in the Barossa Valley, or if you can ever chance to watch barrels being made, it's fascinating and really worth watching. Plenty of YouTube videos on it, by the way, if you once you're doing that. And we keep each wine in there for what? How long?
So our musician probably about 12 months, and Cab and Shiraz about 18, and Malia and GPL around 24 months.
So fair bit of time.
Yeah, long term.
So we keep each barrel for what, 6 years or thereabouts?
Yeah.
And then sell them off for, some go back to the coopers and some go to make planters, dog kennels, fish makers, all the other things people think they want to do. This shed will actually hold 1,000 barrels when it's full. But probably one of the most expensive parts of winemaking is barrels, is oak. And if we're all making white wine, which is pretty well made in stainless steel tanks,
that's right.
it'll be a lot cheaper. But anyway, look, this is a barrel shed, a wood shed, basically. It seems to work for us, doesn't it? Mount Gambier limestone on the walls and a nice blanket on the top. So we might wander back, shall we, Stella?
Yes.
And keep talking around and we'll...
Should we go to the crusher?
Why don't we pop over to the crusher? We've got another shed over there that lots of pallets of wine and more barrels, by the way. Stella's little domain over there. So this is the crusher. This is Coonawarra, by the way. It's a flat area. It's not in a valley or anything like that. It's you can look it up. Just go to coonawarra.org and you'll find all the details. And it's based on a strip of beautiful Terra Rossa soil, one of the great viticultural soils of the world. So there's a receivable bin and it tips up in the air. not, if we'd been 2 weeks ago, we could have filmed all this stuff. But there's a crusher down there. So, there is various vines on the whole thing. Lighthouses over there. So when we go back into cellar door, we're going to talk about a couple of wines, particularly the wines that are very popular at the Good Food and Wine Show, which are still scheduled for later in the year. Cross our fingers and hope that the virus becomes under control, and we can go back to normality, which would be really good. So here we are, heading off to the staff entrance at Majella. Majella, by the way, is a family winery, medium size, small medium, and we've been going for 20 odd years, 25 years, 28 years, something like that. So wine, of course, even though cellar door sales are closed at the moment, mail order is working really well. I think Australia Post is under the pump. It's like Christmas all rolled, Christmas all rolled into one for Australia Post, which is why those of you that have ordered wine from Majella might find it a little slow at the moment. It's taking a few days longer than normal, but I'm sure the boys at Aussie Post are doing their best. Mail order is working very well indeed, and we'll talk about that just in a minute. In the meantime, in the no entry, but we're allowed, and into the tasting room, which is a little bit different than normal because we've got some lights set up. We'll be doing a few virtual wine tastings. As Stella now puts it in on a tripod, so it's not quite as shaky. A couple of things to mention. One is we're going to look at some sparkling Shiraz, which I reckon, this is Australia's gift to the wine world. This is absolutely magic stuff. This is what I drink after work every night. Along with Bruce, our other winemaker, who's hidden in his little office and keeping away from the camera. Sparkling red wines, been an Australian staple for a long, long time. And look at that, fizzy, red, nice bubbles. So it's basically red wine that's been put through the champagne method to put some nice bubbles in. And all seems to work. It seems to work very well for us, and it's what I drink after work. And I know from our times of Good Food and Wine shows that it's a very popular wine. I don't know whether I'm allowed to drink on Facebook, but pretty good to me. So even at this hour of the morning, it is the only wine to have with breakfast. Eggs and bacon, full American eggs, bacon, waffles, and the whole lot. All the full English, put some sausage with it, and it works. A couple of things. We've got a really good offer for the Good Food and Wine Show people. It'll come out soon. You might even see it. But if you hit the Majella website, www.majellawines.com.au, and you remember the code GFWS, Good Food and Wine Show, GFWS20. 20 because it's 2020, and 20 because there's a 20% discount. So any of our wines, order as many as you like. It's free freight for 12 bottles or more. You can mix and match. Go onto the online store. When you get to the checkout page, there'll be a little box, and it'll say put the code in. Put the code in GFWS, Good Food and Wine Show, GFWS20, and you'll get a 20% discount. Free freight for 12 bottles or more. I hope this little thing on Coonawarra and Majella's been good fun. I hope that the Good Food and Wine shows are still going strong later in the year, and that we see you in Sydney and Melbourne and Perth and Brisbane. Have fun, stay safe, wash your hands, don't panic. See you soon.